Welcome back, everyone. This is Erik Brown, your Beverly Hills real estate agent, bringing you the best of LA, where we share with you cool local businesses, the best that LA and the surrounding area has to offer. I'm here with my friend Amanda of Beloved. And Amanda, without giving anything away, I'm just going to let you talk a bit about the business. So tell us what it is that Beloved is and does.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erik. Thanks for having me too. So largely kind of what I do is I specialize in pet and equine photography. And so I work with people, both private clients as well as commercial clients, to produce images of their best friends. So I specialize in working with people to curate personalized artwork in the form of either artwork for their walls, if they, are decorating their spaces, to be able to use artistic and meaningful photos of their pets or their pets and family, as well as image collections in the form of memory books, photo boxes, things like that they can just kind of have to memorialize and remember the relationship that they have between their pets, their horses, their whole family. So that's largely what I do.
I love it. That's awesome. So what started this? What got you into it to begin with?
So it's kind of a long story, but to kind of make it short, I have always done photography since I was in high school, pretty much. It's kind of always been something that I've done. I studied art and graphic design in school, and then I taught high school photography for a little while, kind of done a bunch of different things. But one thing that's always been a constant in my life has been my love for animals. And at a young age, my mom told me I would always kind of like go to birthday parties of friends and like kind of ditch them and go play with their pets sometimes. So it's kind of just always been a thing that, my husband calls me the dog whisperer, but not really a dog whisperer. I just really love animals. And so I found myself in my photographic journey. My history is very documentary in style. And so I found that no matter where I was going, if I was like on a travel, photo job or something like that, I was always drawn to taking pictures of the animals that were around. And so I started doing some photography of some friends' pets and just thought of this whole experience that I could bring for people that would be meaningful around that. And so that's kind of how I got into doing it. And it was a little bit of a slow transition, but once I kind of made the leap to decide to just specialize in pets and horses, then and I always have loved horses too. So it kind of was a natural thing for me. Yeah, and that's kind of generally how it happened.
Well, that's great. When someone's passion really has the ability to shine in their work, I'm sure it doesn't feel like work then. It just comes out across as a passion or a hobby or the joy that your clients get to see. Tell me a little bit. One of the first things that I think of in the world of photography or videography is taking a photo of a person and taking a photo of an animal. I'm sure there's a different way that the lens reacts. So how is it that you see what you see? How are you able to capture either the story or the image that you want?
Yeah, it's definitely, I would say, a lot of people think that it's more challenging. I think that everyone has different personalities and what they like photographing and what kind of comes natural to them. And for sure, photographing animals is kind of a, for lack of a better term, whole different animal than photographing people, because I've also photographed people and I like doing both. Some of my sessions have both the family and the animal, whereas some of them they want to focus mostly on just the animal. But as far as photographing goes, you have to think about things like animals are short, right? So what looks beautiful up here might not look so good if it doesn't look good, down on the ground. So there are other locations where it might, look horrible, but then there's this one spot that lower, if you're taking a picture of like a dog or something like that, it actually looks great for them, but not necessarily for people. And, there are other technical aspects of photography that you kind of have to, be aware of when you're photographing animals rather than just people, for sure.
Sure. So tell me a bit, and for the viewers that are listening, a bit about the process. So if someone says, I've got a pet, I've got a horse, we've got something we'd really like to, as you had said, tell the story or memorialize our family. And so what type of initial consultation or questions do you go through as you get prepped then for the film session, then the day of, the day after? What does it look like?
Yeah, so all of my sessions are pretty custom based on what my clients' needs are and kind of what they're looking to do with their images. So I have a pre-consultation that I go through first, where I ask them a lot of questions to just get to know them, get to know their pet or horse, and establish, where we want to have the photos, what kind of look we want, what their decor is like, if they want to have something that is for their wall, or if they're more interested in an album or something like that. We kind of go through all that first, so that we kind of have a goal of, what the end product will be. So that way, when I'm photographing, I can make sure, I'm keeping that in mind as far as like the colors and the, specific things that we want to do. So we have a pre-consultation, and then we have the photo session. And the photo sessions, I have a couple different options, but the main one that I offer, is up to 2 hours. But we go through all those, details when we go over the pre-consultation. And then after that, we have an image reveal. And during the image reveal is kind of the best part. That's when you get to see all the pictures. And that's always so great. And then at that time is kind of when we make the decision. And I know that going through images and picking, your favorites and kind of deciding what you want to do with them is very daunting. And a lot of people kind of don't like doing that, or don't really know where to start, or kind of, how to get what they're wanting to get out of it. So that's kind of where I come in. And that's part of, a big part of what I do is kind of help guide people through that. So I kind of have a process that I go through with them to pick their favorites, and, have software to actually mock up what things would look like in their space. So that way we can pick the size, the finish, the picture that matches perfectly with their decor, or, what it is that they're looking to do with it.
That's very cool. Are you finding most people, when they're having that initial call, do they want to come to you? Do they want to go to a studio space? Do they want you to come to them? Do they have an area that they've selected that they think is going to be perfect? Like, how does that play out?
It's totally different with everyone. Yeah, a lot of people don't know what they want. At first, they kind of know that this is something they want to do because, it's meaningful, or, a lot of people tend to do it a little bit more towards the end of life. I try to encourage people to do it sooner, so that way they can, have the images that they want to remember. And time goes by so quickly, and it's easy to kind of, put things off. And so a lot of times they're kind of like, I want pictures, but I'm not sure exactly what we want to do yet. And so that I kind of like walk them through, like, where are some meaningful spaces? Like, we could come to your home, which a lot of times is really nice, because you get the animal in their natural environment. Or like if it's a horse, I typically go to their barn. Sometimes people like doing horse sessions elsewhere, and trailer and the horses there. But typically I usually do those, at the barn at that location. And then sometimes we'll meet somewhere in a public park, or beach, or something like that, where we kind of want to do the photos based on the image, the look that we're going for. But yeah, when people contact me, a lot of times they're not sure. And I do studio work as well. Here, I converted my garage into a studio at home, but I do, when I travel out there, I usually just do like on location sessions.
Yeah, and you had, for those people that are listening and don't know, you had mentioned out there. So like me, you're a bit of a transplant. Tell that story.
Yeah. So I am actually not full-time located in LA, or in that area. I am in Virginia, but I travel to do photography in different places, and I come out there once to twice a year to book a limited number of sessions for people who want to do sessions while I'm out there.
Mhm. And do you have that same relationship with other cities or other states, or is it just here in the California area?
The California area is my first kind of second area that I'm doing that with. I go to New England and South Carolina also. And those are kind of the places that I focus on, is Virginia, South Carolina, New England, and the LA area.
That's cool. Well, it's not, I mean, it shows an expanding need or want of what people are looking for. which
Mhm.
kind of segues into an interesting question. Have you found things while you have grown your practice that have been things that you never would have thought of that pop up? Questions that people ask, things that they want. Have you seen anything that's trending?
Yeah, I have a lot of things come to mind when you ask me that. When I
Anything you want to tackle it.
when you when I first got started in this, one thing I just wasn't anticipating, I guess because it came so naturally to me of taking pictures of animals, is people saying, "Oh, I would love to do that, but I don't think my dog would be well behaved enough." Like I don't know if they would sit still, or they're too timid or too shy, or they're too crazy, kind of like one extreme or the other. And I'm kind of like, well, that's kind of why you need me, right? Because otherwise, if it was easy and you could, do it yourself and anyone could do it, then you could. But as far as having that specialized experience and working with dogs in particular, of all different types, that like doesn't matter if they're super crazy. It doesn't matter, if they're timid or reactive. We just have to be a little more cautious about, where we're going and what we're doing and stuff like that. But that was something that I wasn't necessarily anticipating when I first got started, but I get that all the time from people, is that they're not sure if their dog, and dogs in particular, I don't get that so much with other animals, but if they'll behave well or not. And so that's one thing. Think of, there was some other stuff that came to mind, but that was that was the first thing that I said, and then
Sure, that's a big one.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And I know you had touched on something earlier that all of the individual concepts that you walk through with someone is personalized. So I'm sure the packaging, it can be tailored to someone's individual wants or needs. Is there, and keep this as generalized as you want, is there a general range in packages that people like? Is there a price range from low to high so people have a rough idea of what a service like this would go for?
Yeah. So I do tell people that it is very custom. So it totally depends on exactly kind of what they want to do. If they're, looking for kind of my standard session, which is my most typical kind of session that works for most people. It works really great for horses, also for dogs, and cats. I've done cats too. And is the signature session, and that kind of ranges. It starts around $900 and then kind of goes up from there based on the kind of artwork that you want to have with. So I tell people, if you want something that is just kind of like a small kind of nice piece for your wall, then around that range. Or if you want to do something that's more of like a really nice album or book, that's kind of like a memory book plus a few really nice statement pieces for your wall, it could get up to 3,000, up to if you want to do stuff for your whole house, then that could get up in the $10,000 range, or for businesses too. So I have worked with businesses where I've done photographs of like their employees' pets to put on their walls, and or like vet offices and stuff like that, to kind of have kind of customized, personalized art for their offices, because then it's a little bit more personalized. It's either their employees or their clients, and then people get really happy when they see that. It's a nice conversation starter. So actually having that kind of work in corporate offices too is been very popular as well.
That's awesome. Well, just like your subject matter, you can offer services in all shapes and sizes for folks, depending on what it is that they want.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
great.
Yeah,
Well,
and I do have, like you said, it's kind of custom too. So I do have some other options for people who have older or ill pets, that they want something maybe that's a little bit less for them, but they want something to remember them by. I do have some other kind of package options for that as well.
that's awesome.
Mhm.
Well, thanks, Amanda. This was great. I'm so excited to be able to speak with you about your business. If there's anything that I can do to help here in the Los Angeles area as you're continuing to expand, I would love to. I will include all of your contact information here at the bottom of the screen so people know how to get a hold of you. Any last parting words you'd like to share?
Just, I guess, if you would like to connect with me and talk about scheduling a session while I'm, in the LA area, then you can visit my website and reach out to me, and we can talk about when I'll be there and what kind of booking availability I have. So thank you.
Awesome. Of course. Well, as always, folks, this is Erik Brown, your Beverly Hills real estate agent, bringing you another episode of The Best of LA. Tune in next time when we share another cool local business here for you. As always, this is Erik signing off.